Hello students, I am Dr. Krupa Rasne, professor from Jain College of Engineering, Belgavi. I am going to deal with the topic network and cybersecurity, and I am dealing with module 4 of the subject network and cybersecurity, which is an elective for the 8th semester electronics and communication department. The cybersecurity and network has this syllabus for the module 4, which is cyber network security concepts, and it basically has the textbook Thomas J. Mowbray Security Managing Systems Conducting Testing and Investigating Instruction by Billy Publications. And also I'll be referring this as the textbook for the whole module, and it is also the prescribed textbook, and it deals basically with the first two chapters of cybersecurity of Thomas Mowbray. And we also am going to introduce you to this YouTube, which will give you an interesting view on antivirus versus anti-malware. So, in this lecture series, let us continue with the chapter 2, the problems cyber anti-pattern. We have already dealt with anti-patterns concept and forces in cyber anti-patterns in our early lecture. In this particular lecture, we will be dealing with cyber anti-pattern templates, and in the next lecture, we'll deal with cyber security anti-pattern catalog. So let us move on to cyber anti-pattern templates. Cybersecurity Anti-Pattern Catalog. An anti-pattern, just like a software design pattern, is a structured narrative. Now, design pattern will focus on solutions, whereas the anti-patterns will focus on commonly recurring problems and then address the problems with one or more solutions. To write anti-patterns, you will need a template. What is a template? And anti-pattern template is an outline for each pattern that assures a consistent conceptual flow and presents all of the necessary elements. There are two types of templates we have seen earlier, one for a full write-up and another simpler template for micro anti-patterns. Now, what is anti-pattern catalog? A catalog is a technical term in the pattern community, and it consists of a list of anti-patterns which is in the catalog. In lecture module 4.1, we introduce the concept of anti-patterns as a way to motivate organizational and behavioral changes. Below is presented the following general anti-patterns informally along with potential solutions. Signature-based malware detection versus polymorphic threats, document-driven certification and accreditation, proliferating IA standards with no proven benefits, policy-driven security certifications do not address the. At a high level, the lecture continues this discussion of anti-patterns, cyber mistakes, and bad security habits with these prevalent anti-patterns. Can't patch dump, unpatched applications, never read the logs, networks always play by the rules, hard on the outside, gooey in the middle, webify everything, no time for security. So these are some of the anti-patterns we'll be looking into this particular chapter. But in this lecture, we'll be seeing the first two, that is can't patch dump and unpatched applications from the catalog. Can't patch dump. The anti-pattern name is can't patch dump. It is also known as social engineering, phishing, spam, spyware, drive-by malware, ransomware, autoplay attacks. Refactored solution names, security awareness. Unbalanced primal forces, confidentiality, for example, divulging private information, integrity, for example, rootkits. Anecdotal evidence: technology is not the problem, people are the problem, and technology is easy, people are difficult. So, in can't patch dump, we'll be looking into the anti pattern solution. What are the causes, symptoms, and what are the consequences of this anti pattern? What are the refactored solution and examples? And what are the related solutions? Now, coming to the anti pattern solution of can't patch dump, the end user's lack of security awareness puts his personal information and the organization's competitiveness at risk. Social engineering: the art of extracting sensitive information from people, exploits a human's inherent tendency to want to help other people. So, these are some of the tactics taken by these people, and they create a problem to the softwares. Unaware end users are easily fooled into opening malicious email attachments, responding to spam offers, and downloading spyware, ransomware, and malicious websites. The spyware problem is much more widespread than people realize because it involves not just spyware applications but also spyware that is running in browsers that is served up knowingly by top 10 websites such as ESPN.com and Disney.com. Continuing with the anti pattern solution, there are thousands of web tracking companies making money spying on your web activities and vacuuming information from all your browser tabs. About 9,000 malicious websites offer free antivirus solutions. When you install these applications, instead of getting solutions, what you get instead is a threat and a warning to pay the vendor or your computer becomes unusable. Drive-by malware are computer infections that are loaded automatically when you visit a malicious website. Some of these sites are from legitimate businesses that have been hacked and exploited to download malware. Legitimate websites can also spread malware from the advertisements which are controlled by third party. Autoplay infections result when malware is introduced by a user from a universal serial bus USB memory stick, often in violation of organizational policies. Now let us look at the can't patch dump anti-pattern solution. By default, Microsoft Windows autoplays programs on memory sticks whenever one is inserted. Memory sticks with autoplay infections are distributed accidentally by legitimate companies at trade shows. They have propagated viruses from educational networks to home networks and were used to spread malware attacks such as Stuxnet. The anti-pattern occurs when organizations do not take adequate precautions to keep the end users from inadvertently compromising their systems or divulging information to strangers. Now let us look at the can't patch dump. What are the causes, symptoms, and consequences? The causes and symptoms of this anti-pattern are lack of a recurring security awareness training program for all end users, including a test assessment. The refracted solution and examples. Security awareness training should be mandatory for every person in an organization. Training should be completed before a person is given computer access, and then the organization should conduct annual refresher courses. The courses should include training on social engineering skills as well as internet safety. The training should articulate the organization's policies on what information can be divulged to which groups of customers or co workers. An online training program with integrated testing is ideal and ensures that the required skills are acquired. Test answers can be used for accountability, proving that particular policies were known by specific individuals. Now, coming to the related solutions of can't patch dump, the end user should have website advisors installed, perhaps as part of the antivirus suite. Users should take even further precautions, such as using Google to reach websites. Google constantly scans the internet for malware. Before a user clicks through to a suspected malicious site, Google gives a warning message on the search page and presents a challenge page to further persuade the user to avoid the website. Solutions such as the Firefox extension NoScript are too all or nothing to effectively dissuade users from unsafe surfing behaviors. NoScript stops well scripts by default, requiring user permission to enable them on each web page. After some experience, many users will enable scripts everywhere or at least on many top 100 websites where the biggest spyware threats reside. Unpatched applications. This is the next anti-pattern. The name is Unpatched applications. It is also known as vendor specific updates, default configuration. Refactored solution name is patch management. And the unbalanced primal forces are management of integrity. Anecdotal evidence is the most new attacks are going after the applications, not the operating systems. The background. Windows were released with about 25,000 known defects. Patches are software updates that repair known defects. All defects are potentially security issues given the likelihood that a defect is one part of the software could affect any other part of the system. Many of the defects in patch updates are security related, either discovered by the vendor, external security researchers, or from malware caught in the wild. With automatic updates from operating system vendors, for example Microsoft, Apple, operating systems and same vendor applications are relatively well patched. The same can be said for enterprise patch management solutions from companies like Landesk, BMC, Altiris, and HP, which are widely deployed in large corporations. Patch management in many government organizations is done manually. Continuing with the unpatched application background, the worst case of this anti-pattern is when systems with default configurations are put on production networks. This applies at the operating system level as well as to the installed applications. Often applications are deployed with helper systems such as backup servers and staging machines in default configurations because all of the security focus is on the production systems. Without patching and security hardening over time, publicly announced vulnerabilities and published exploits proliferate, making the systems increasingly insecure. The unpatched application anti-pattern solution. According to SANS Institute's 2010 list of top security vulnerabilities, unpatched applications are one of the biggest security risks. Add-on applications such as QuickTime for Windows, Acrobat, Chrome, and many others are frequent sources of security warnings from the United States Computer Emergency Readiness Team. Vendors try to release patches for the problems at the same time that the defects are announced. The lag between the release and the installed update creates a vulnerability window for attackers. Announcement of the vulnerability and the binary patch gives attackers clues about how to exploit the weakness. Eventually, security researchers may even release the exploit publicly. SANS found that enterprises are very effective at keeping operating system patches current, but they are ineffective at keeping application patches up to date. Next, let us look at the unpatched applications, causes, symptoms, and consequences. The causes, symptoms, and consequences of this anti-pattern include automatic update disabled on any application where it's available. Never visit vendor websites to search for updates. No inventory of applications and vendors. No update maintenance schedule. No, not reviewing the US certification bulletins. No governance of application versions. Now, after seeing the causes, symptoms, and consequences, let us look at the known exceptions. If software product support has expired, as it was for early versions of Windows, and there are no further vendor updates, migration to a supported version is strongly recommended. Each organization should maintain a list of approved standard versions of all the software applications. Some vendors will continue to support the product with security patches for an additional fee. Now, looking at the related solutions, some technically advanced organizations are using their data center provisioning environments to assure patch management and policy configurations. By creating lockdown standard system images, data centers are able to deploy virtual servers which conform to security baselines and perform mass updates to these configurations to apply patches and other changes. So these are some related solutions for this unpatched applications. So in this lecture, we have been looking into the cybersecurity anti-pattern catalog. In that, we have dealt with can't patch dumb, unpatched applications. We have another 5 such anti-patterns to study in the following few lectures series. Thank you and feel free to ask any questions.